I just had this Zoom meeting with my wife yesterday, and I wasn't even thinking about posting this. I wasn't even thinking about this at all when I did this and when we had this meeting. But our topic this week in GrowCom's alignment. And this shows in this meeting, like I noticed like after that we were so aligned, and it was us pushing towards something together and us working together and being aligned, and see when you have alignment, how much faster you can move, how much more progress you can move, how much more efficiently and effectively you can be with your wife, with your team, with anyone. So I'm going to jump into that as well and show you what that looks like.
Woo! Let's do this.
Okay, so we're going to map out the steps. This is supposedly going to land us to a name. Steps you would have given somebody.
I love how you say this is supposedly going to land us to a name.
I feel like your biggest step was like you went balls in and like went to fucking Amsterdam or something. Like you just like you fearlessly took action, and that's kind of a hard first step to give to somebody. I feel like we need to ease them in. I'm writing in this document. You're not, right? I feel like I can feel that you're there. Hit me. I'll Godar. Fucker.
I think that, by the way, this is really fun and I love this. And this is just like quality time.
You should go do this more. Do you want to like get separate houses and maybe just Zoom?
I don't even know if when you're working next door, if we shouldn't still just Zoom rather than sit next to each other.
I prefer it. Let's be clear about this. This is the steps from where you were, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, which is the person that we're creating the podcast for, the steps you took to get to who you are today, which is someone who is like welcoming abundance, thriving in their company, made massive growth in your evolution and personal development.
This would have been 18. This would have been coming back from Florida.
Right when we came back.
So I guess that was my biggest failure so far in life. And right when we came back from Florida, we hadn't done $1 million yet. So it's like this was the journey, and we didn't even hit it that year. I remember this event because this is right in the middle of, it was like July when I went to UPW because Trent was working for us. And I remember the patio we were working on, and I was really needing to get done to get the money while I was at this event. I felt like I kind of just lost myself with like the whole Florida thing, and I felt like a huge failure because I felt like I let you down. I let my family down.
You didn't touch on any of this with Bryce, and I know you were feeling the feelings that you were feeling in that call. Well, but you were like, I don't know, one day I just started investing in expensive shit. But it's like, no, you just experienced the most public, gigantic failure of our lives. And
but like until I really, really, really like thought about that, like I didn't even remember. I had to back work at the time, and I don't feel like I know he's asking these questions, but I feel like I don't want to waste his fucking time with me doing what I just did with you. Like, well, let me think about back in the archives of time.
Like, but that's actually powerful because I feel like we can come back with it and be like, dude, like that was that, but like here, this is really what happened. It was literally the worst time.
But how that relates is that can be the total feeling of failure because you're not growing, you're not selling enough, you're losing employees, like whatever, like you're at that breaking.
Just the trenches that so many people feel is really
because we would have been like the year before that, we went from fucking like 400 to 970 this year. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so we like doubled in size. I feel like having like massive failure was the first step. Like,
I love that because I feel like just like reading, and I feel like when we talk about reading too, and what you should be reading, I think you look back and don't you kind of wish you would have read more about marriage and relationships and visions versus only, I mean, I think you could even make a top 10 list in this, experience massive failure. And I mean, it doesn't even have to necessarily be failure. It could be experience massive risk that hasn't paid off yet too, because it's like, well, when somebody quits their job, that's like the biggest risk ever. And then there is that period where you sit in this fucking like pool of doubt and like, you don't know if that's going to pay off. I don't want to say like, hey, you have to go really fuck up first. And that's step number one. But it's like, no, experience a big risk or a big failure.
Doubt, it could be stagnancy. It could be anything. Feeling like you're out of resources. Maybe you don't even say money.
I mean, that's obviously the precipice because once you've experienced this, then that's when you're seeking. Because I feel like the people that are in the great spots aren't necessarily seeking this out. Not that they won't find us, but they're not seeking us out. So experience this moment.
Yeah, I think this is where like I kind of just set out to educate myself even more because when I had the most growth was when I was educating myself. So I started reading, which led me to wanting to improve myself.
Feeling. So it's back to feeling. Like I feel like it's back to that I think you play on big feelings to the feeling of needing to improve who you are,
which led me to seeking out like mentorship through conferences or
just personal development.
Seeking out that I needed to be a better version of myself. That led me to Tony Robbins conference, Unleash Power Within, It's not like that it's specific and that's what somebody
No,
do.
but it's that same feeling. It's like, well, then you start reading, and then all these people that you're reading from are obviously much fucking better than you are at your, because it's like, think about the guy who comes home and just has a couple beers and they don't talk to their wife, and then you're lacking in this, and then you're reading books about people that are like so far superior that it's like, oh my God. I feel like that's the natural trajectory, is exactly what you experienced.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it matters who it is again, but it's like people like Tony Robbins and those like visions of strength are huge. Tony Robbins events. And then, okay, so I don't want to speak for you and skip steps. We might be skipping steps, but don't you feel like that felt contagious once you started like building yourself? It's like, well, oh my God, like you guys need to feel this too.
Yeah. Once I got involved, then I knew I needed to do more. Like as soon as I got to that event, I knew that I needed to do more. And then like the keynote was, because you don't know what you don't know. That continued to expand into me wanting to aggressively learn and then start to involve my team in as much of this as possible.
You want to get aligned with any team that you have, but your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you're seeing positive payoffs, right? I mean, don't you feel like that?
Well, I would say right after the Tony Robbins event, I came back and sold the biggest job I've ever sold. So
then you're involving your team and then you're experiencing this payoff. So let's reframe how I wrote it. You're at this point A where this really sucks. You need to start educating yourself. You need to start reading these books. That is going to give you this feeling that you need to become a better version of yourself right now, because who you are, you're operating at like 10% your max capacity. You can be up here. Once you're feeling that drive, then you need to seek out and get in the room with bigger people. And you need to, it doesn't have to be fucking Tony Robbins. It can be
maybe step 2, part 2 of 2, taking massive action.
I'm going to start writing kind of what that feels like. You may stop relating to those people as much, because I know it's like once you're like growing in something, then you want to figure out that like you want to connect with a group of people. So then it's like when you connect with those people in the personal development groups or in the mentorship groups, training groups, it's like, holy shit, you feel like I feel, like you feel the shitty stuff and you feel the great stuff and you want to get better. You've met that group of people, but then you want to bring it back home, because it's like, dude, there's people out here. We can all do this. Mm-hmm. I'm improving. You guys can be improving. So you want to do that with your wife. I know that pressure that you felt. Now I see it better, of like, you want me to hop on this train because, dude, it feels so good. It's so awesome. Like what's going on inside of you internally.
You're involved in this train. But so maybe 5 is like your tribe or your people starts to change.
Team will evolve naturally.
I'd already stopped being fun Godar or whatever, Mr. Party, because I never cared. I always cared more about being better than I cared about partying. That's how I was when I was racing too. That's why I didn't party. Yeah. Your tribe will start to evolve, like even the people you want to be around.
Stagnancy is the root of all evil, I feel like, in terms of like, if you're that person that's not changing anything in your life and your Friday night looks the same every week, like you're going to have that like toxic mindset. When you're growing, you're going somewhere and it's exciting. Your friends will hate that you're not in the same place as them anymore. So you're going to lose friendships, but then you're going to make better friendships. Your relationship's going to change either for the better or for the worse because of the same thing. But like in relationships, I think the biggest thing with marriage is it's like, we're not the same people that we were when we got married, and we're not even the same people we were 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever. You should always be evolving in alignment. See, I do feel like I think these are action steps, but I think he was also wanting more action steps of your business. You know what I mean? I don't want to give him this broad picture of this is what you'll experience, because when he's really like, no, you needed to say, market your business, hire people.
But these things led to marketing my business and hiring people. Like
this whole concept is about pinching time. Then it goes right back to what I said a little bit ago about you were never cool with being like, I'm the best. We're the best. But then once you get that confidence and that like development where it's like, no, like we really are, we're the best. It never feels right to say I'm better than you. Then you've talked about that lately too, but it's like, well, we're doing much bigger, better things. I think everybody that like is going to be drawn to this are the people that feel like what I'm doing is not like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it is physically yet or not.
Maybe this is your tribe will evolve, and then you'll start to get clarity on
the steps you need to take in your business.
Well, maybe it's like, well, I had a real big shift in like the last business mastery that like, as much as I want everything to be perfect for everybody, like the business is a vehicle, and it's a tool to, create whatever it is that we're trying to create, and then that's where we started to get more granular and realize that's what broke some of those limiting beliefs about marketing and hiring people. Now you get into strategic. All this is why you join things like Grow Company.
Yeah.
That whole beginning portion, that's why you get around this, to try to be told things you need to do instead of like have to do all this necessarily yourself. You could maybe save, you know, 100-something thousand or more. But you still should do some of this stuff.
Well, it's just like saving you the time. It's like, wow, you just mapped out the route. Maybe I'm not going to go fly to Amsterdam to Tony Robbins, but I am going to join GrowCom where I can virtually train with you for a low investment. And that fits my schedule of being stuck in the field and not wanting to miss more time with my family.
Like step 6 is you start to realize you marketing and sales are like the king of your company. Now you're starting to really grow and catch steam, and you realize once you get enough size that like the culture and the people are like your biggest focus.
Yeah,
this is going or no?
Oh, I love this. So I think like from steps 1 to 5, that could, I mean, yes, that happened for us in like a 3-year period or for you, but like that could happen in a really short amount of time to where it's like you can go from like being one guy in the field to like being someone who, once you start changing what you're focusing on, you could pinch that time so much. And then, you need to focus on the culture. But I feel like that goes back because it's like, so now I have to focus on people. And now I'm not just like worried about mowing the grass. Now I have to worry about managing these people who I don't even necessarily understand. So then it's like, you need to, again, focus on the training, like the development of like leadership training. Cause it's not just personal as a person, like, yeah, I'm better. I'm doing something. It's like, you have to know how to lead people.
Yeah.
But I guess that also comes from becoming a better version of yourself. You become a more confident leader. But
I have to send something real quick, so don't think I'm not paying attention to you.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to figure it out. So let's just go through this one more time. I feel like I don't know if we're missing something. So you start out with your experience of like risk, failure, doubt, stagnancy. That leads you into feeling like there's got to be a better way. So you're going to start educating yourself. This is probably you in the field listening to audiobooks. And then that's going to lead you into that bigger feeling of like, I need to improve who I am. I need to take accountability. I need to start taking action. And then you realize you need help and you need to surround yourself physically with these other people that are doing this. So then you're going to probably seek out personal development to become a better version of yourself. What? Did you mute yourself?
No. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I got to eat some jerky. I'm dying.
What if it was, you're going to hate it, but what if it was like growing uncomfortably or something like that? Like,
I haven't felt any keywords yet. I don't feel like people want to feel discomfort. They don't know they want to feel discomfort. So I don't know if the discomfort is a selling point for people till you hook them. I don't feel any keywords and I don't feel any names.
Not even a little bit.
Okay, so let me just read the steps, even though the steps need work. Experience a big failure, doubt, stagnancy, educate yourself, seek out personal development to become a better version of yourself, aggressively improve yourself and involve your people, watch your tribe evolve, get the confidence and clarity on the strategic steps you need to take in your business. And now you're growing, you're catching steam, and you're focusing on culture. See, I feel like we took a turn, but I guess not. So I think it's cool though, because when you look at that, it's like, okay, so this all started with me in the field reading audiobooks about becoming a better person, and it evolves into, so then you're like looking at people that are better than you, and then you become the leader of that. And I think that's a really cool concept actually, of like, in terms of personal development, you become that person. You get to take everything that you learned then and you get to guide other people on that ship. I think that's really cool. You don't even realize it's necessarily what you did. Like, you become the Tony Robbins of your business.
So here, I'm going to just keep pitching stuff because I want to find a name. Okay. But you keep saying get better, they get better, you make everybody better. What if it was like better every day or something like that? I mean, it's some spin on that.
What if it's like something development, strategic development? Sounds like a sitcom.
What if it was fully developed? No.
Sounds like an embryo.
Everything, like most growing stuff, is like uncomfortable. You know, like when you're growing a child, labor is not comfortable. You have growing pains. You know, you have everything about growth is uncomfortable. Maybe it somehow is tied into it. Maybe it's somehow, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because that was in my head. Isn't that like how almost everything is? Like, isn't that how like anything that's growing goes through like?
What if it's like, the discomfort phase? I mean, and think about like grass. Well, I'm thinking more plants, but like grass, like breaking through the dirt. They're very fragile, and that's a very like important part for the plant.
The base, like.
Mm-hmm.
The base of your development.
I feel like foundations is, a word that people connect. You have to create that. None of it's going to be successful if you don't create the foundation. I really like this. I feel like this was very productive.
Constructing foundation.
No.
What if I was building your base?
You always love to say building. It's like you always add the ing to words when you phrase sentences. I think that's so funny.
So do you think it's building or build?
Well, I'm just saying, I think it's funny. That's how your brain works. It's like you're always like, when you write out steps, it's always like working, doing, thinking.
Being.
Yeah. So do you want to drop it at that for now? And then like, we'll keep thinking about it.
Probably so.
I really like that though. I think we made a lot of headway and I could clean that up to make it ready for him. So that was great.
Okay. I'm going to hammer calls. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.